I am doing super good, super good. Today is September 30th,
Mm-hmm.
last day in September, and this is a very special September because September marks this year
Mm-hmm.
the 30th anniversary of Harley Quinn's first appearance ever, her debut, which happened September 11th of 1992 in the Batman animated series
Mm-hmm.
episode Joker's Favor. So for me, as you guys know, I'm a huge Harley Quinn fan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit, Siri was listening. She's excited too, guys. But that's where I have like my posters and my some of my Funko Pops up just in celebration. And yes, so she's an icon, the queen, the clown princess of crime, has transcended the TV animated series into the comics, and I mean it's been history. So from
Clown
there.
Princess of
So
Crime is an actual name.
it's one of like the names they use because I know for Joker they also say like Clown Prince of Crime, so it's like
Interesting.
one of the aliases she has. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So it's a special day, everybody.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna say it's rare that DC has a special day, and even more rare that DC has a special day over Marvel because I titled this episode 53 She Hulk, and in parentheses I put sad face just because
Oh yeah.
I'm disappointed in what's transpiring here with Marvel. So shout out to DC finally getting a one up, but Feige, I'm talking to you again. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not.
Feige, I know, I know, I know. And honestly, just speaking of DC real quick, they did such a cool thing this, like in celebration of like the 30th anniversary of Harley Quinn. They made these special limited comic book covers that I actually posted on my TikTok, first ever TikTok.
I was about to
Got
say
the
you have
shirt
a TikTok.
Dude, literally today I made my first
Look
post.
at that.
Literally. Just because I have so many collectibles and like I feel like this would make it justifiable for me to get more. It's like, no, 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 guys, I'm putting it on my TikTok for you guys to watch, you know?
Awesome.
Uh, so, like I have them. I got these like special limited collection that they released, and it's basically Harley Quinn juxtaposed to kind of well-known comic book
Mm-hmm.
covers that don't originally have her in them. So like I think one of them is like the original, like the first issue of Batman, but she's in the picture instead of Robin. There's like I forget which one it is, but it's like one with the Joker, and instead of him, it's her. It's like so it's really cool, and I have them, and I posted something with them just to kind of share. So that was really cool that they did that for the anniversary. And like brief history of the character in the comics. Like, I mean, she originated in the animated series and she was not really intended to do anything beyond that, but she gained so much popularity that a year later she made her debut September 1993 in the comics. And so it's she's a special character, and I'm just really excited that we get to celebrate the 30 flirty and thriving year and anniversary of Harley Quinn.
Well, that honestly, that fun fact, it just ages me just because initially the animated series like I watched from birth, you know what I'm saying, since it came out, and then it's like I knew of Harley Quinn to be the sidekick dressed in the red and black. Uh, it would I would say it's almost like a deck of cards suit, like it.
So Jester,
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
So just knowing that was almost kind of like her quote unquote birthplace, and then just I hate to say 30 years later, and now she's just super relevant. I'm old, guys. I'm sorry. So she Grace just kind of made me feel a type of way.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And now we continue on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Marvel and She-Hulk. I don't
Are we
know which
switching right
okay,
now?
so
Are you ready to switch?
yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
All
I'm
right,
ready.
hold
Let's
on.
get
I
into
gotta
it.
my bad. I still got Sandman up here. Let me just take him off. Where is that image at? And there's She-Hulk. All right, we good. We're good. We're good.
Okay, cool. So I mean, first of all, like I'm loving the series overall. It's
Mm-hmm.
great. It's fun. Nothing too serious really happens beyond just like this is kind of like a little bit of a sitcom, which is what they set the expectation to be. So it's not like we can be upset with
Mm-hmm.
that. I think I'm just so bitter that we have yet to have Daredevil in the mix. Like, I
It was like
feel,
because we're about to review 2 episodes, so officially it's been 3 episodes ago since it was a hint of a Daredevil, and if it comes the because I think what is this? Is this episode 7 or 8? We're talking 7 and 8 today. Yes.
yeah, so that means we just have what, one more episode? Is that correct?
Let's
Or
see.
two,
There,
I
yeah,
think.
there's 9 episodes total, right? So if
Yeah, it's a lot for them. Okay, it's like either this series is going to end in an anticlimactic way, or this last episode's going to be overwhelmingly amazing. And I don't know. I don't know. It's like a slow build for it. Like not much has happened for us to be getting into episode 10. Obviously, like episode 9. Obviously, in episode 8, it does really lay out the foundation for maybe the big bad that we're gonna see in episode 9. But it's like, dude, we're in episode 8 and we still don't really know what the threat is. I don't know. It's I don't
Oh,
know. I
I'm
don't know.
seeing right now. I'm looking at the list right now. We're going over 6 and 7 because 7 came out this week and then 8 is next week.
Oh, okay. Okay. Then you know what? I think 2 episodes is enough for them to kind of build up the pace a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. I just feel like they're so baiting us with like this Daredevil because we got the little snippet, right, of him and the chemistry with Jennifer Walters and like we're all about
Mm-hmm.
it. And
You're
then
all about it.
they give us I'm all about it. I'm all about it. I'm a romantic. It is what it
Mm-hmm.
is. We move on. But and then we get, like the little sneak peek at the very end of episode, what was it, 5?
4.
4. And so it's I don't know, they're baiting us at this point. I like we said this last time, so honestly I don't know, but I was like, he has to come in the next one. Like he has to. But then again, I've been saying that for like the past 3 episodes, so I
Right.
don't know if we're gonna get it anymore. I mean, obviously he's gonna come in at some point, but I don't know.
If like honestly, it's to the point to where it's like I'm already just seeing it coming in like on the last episode because I think there's 9 total, so that we have 2 more left. So it's to the point to where you give us almost kind of like a mid season teaser to show that he's coming, and then you have an episode to show his helmet. So we didn't get it last week. Okay, boom. I'm expecting him to show up in some shape or form, whether if it's lawyer or a daredevil by this week. Nothing. Now it's just like, is he ever going to come? Yes, we know he is, but I don't know. I can't call it because we knew he was coming since the very beginning. I think even at the very beginning, the first trailer that we
Yeah, we
got,
did.
we knew there was going to be a Daredevil cameo, you know? But they're just saving that to the very end.
And you know something? It's also one of the things I think is underwhelming is that they let us know we were going to be getting cameo upon cameo upon cameo, episode over episode. But it's like all the cameos we've seen were cameos that were announced before the series even came
Mm-hmm.
out. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's like there's so many things that the fandom excites themselves over that was like, yo, nobody promised you this. That it's fair when we're like disappointed, and that's kind of on us. But I feel like when you set certain expectations ahead of the game and say things like, yeah, this can be an overwhelming amount of cameos in the series, yet none of them are surprising because you gave them all up at front. It's like, I think it's fair for us to be a little bitter about that because really the only cameo we're waiting on is Daredevil, but we've we've known he was going to come into the mix. It's not even a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Like I expected like Wong and Abomination and Daredevil to just be like this scraping the surface of the cameos we're gonna get. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. They excited me over that where it didn't deliver. I love what we are getting. I do. I love what
Right,
we're getting.
right.
There's just things that I'm expecting that aren't in there, and I'm kind of like, okay,
Let me
you
let me
know.
ask you a question. Just because so far all of the other shows we weren't expecting cameos here, so would you say that because this show is what it is, it falls under the I'm gonna call it the multiverse of madness curse?
I would say it's under that scope, but definitely not to the severity. You know what I mean? I think that I mean, if you guys want to watch our full breakdown, then you guys can check it out. But, but briefly, like with the multiverse of madness, it's like from what the comments were from like directors and actors, etc. Plus, like the trailer alone, it was so misleading. Because literally looking back at the trailer alone, it's like they have specific lines that were made in, say, No Way Home,
Mm-hmm.
to make us believe that the events of No Way Home are directly linked to what's going on here and about consequences, etc. And so we were set to believe something, and really the plot had nothing to do with that. So
Right.
like it's definitely a very similar situation that they're not delivering on something that they kind of made a statement on ahead of the game. Just not to the severity. Like I think with Multiverse of Madness, it's the whole plot that was just not what we expected. And same thing, it was underwhelming with the amount of like variance we saw. Incredibly underwhelming.
But
This
see,
it's
but
just
that's where I'll
elements,
stop you. Just because it's like plot aside, based off of everything that we know of, like, or what we were to assume to see in the multiverse of madness, we knew from the trailers that we were going to get a version of the Illuminati, right? Professor X, we were gonna get Captain Marvel, Mr. Fantastic. We didn't know who it was gonna be. Um, I think we knew that the Inhuman Black Bolt was going to be in it, and that was it. So that was in the trailer. So being that this is a quote unquote multiverse of madness, we were thinking that, like we've talked about it before in terms of we were hoping it was going to be many universes that we're going to see with different cameos of actors that we've seen in previous roles. So with that expectation, we were let down. Now, fast forward here to She-Hulk, you're giving us these people in the trailer again, right? Especially even Daredevil at the very beginning, and with that, I'm like, okay, so even though they're giving us these people, they're not spoiling the rest of the cameos that they have in the tuck, because Marvel is pretty good at keeping secrets. So I would just hope that because they're showing us this, they're gonna give us something else. But it's to the point to where they showed us this, and we're gonna eventually get to what they showed us. You know?
No, I don't disagree with that. And it's like I said, like in Multiverse of Madness, like they made a lot of statements and claims, and the trailer was very misleading, and then it was just didn't really deliver, and the cameos, or not cameos necessarily, but the variants were very underwhelming. And I think that like with the issue we're having with She-Hulk falls under a very similar umbrella, but just in a very minute way, because it's not like they're misleading us on the overall plot, right? Well, like it's the show is what it's expected. It's very
Mm-hmm.
sitcom-y. It's very, it's a lawyer show. Like that feels like what they said it would feel like. The only element is the idea of the cameos, because they're like, this is going to be a cameo heavy show and all these things, but all the cameos we've seen so far were already
It was like at the beginning of the season.
exposed
Yeah.
beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with trailers, with panels at Comic-Con, like it was known already. So none of like we haven't gotten a surprise cameo that meant something. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? That was like, oh my god, like Ghost Rider or something like that.
Right.
And so in that degree, I think that's where some of that multiversal madness type of disappointment falls
Mm-hmm.
in. It's just underwhelming, but it's not like the show's bad. The show's not
I'm
bad.
not
I
saying
love
that.
the
Yeah, yeah.
movie. It's fun, and that's the thing. It's not like they misled us on the plot for us to expect something completely different, because then we would be kind of upset with what we're
Mm-hmm.
getting. It's just the element of the cameos that all of us are kind of like, ugh, really? But the story's great, the series is great. But I feel like using like the multiverse of madness as an example makes sense, but obviously in a much very like a much smaller degree.
Well, that's where I can say you and I are different when it comes down to the multiverse of madness. Just because most of my argument beforehand for that movie, I feel like was cameo based in the cameos that we didn't get. It's like, yeah, the plot wasn't that great, but the plot for me was based on the assumption that we were gonna get mutants and other people than what we saw, you know. So um that's the only reason why I asked that question, just because I like it wasn't necessarily plot based for me. It was just more so the disappointment in the cameo situation.
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think that that's like I said, like for that reason, it's a good example to kind of explain what's going on with She-Hulk. And the thing is, it's like Multiverse of Madness is all about seeing variants and different. Like it was such an opportunity for them to just make up whatever the hell they want and just add it in, you know, to the point of being overwhelmingly done
Mm-hmm.
because it's Multiverse of Madness, but they didn't. And so I feel like that flop is much harder felt. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Where here, it's not like the plot revolves around seeing these variants and in cameos, etc. But it's just a missing thing. Like I think with that statement that was made, we were like, oh my god, who else are we gonna get? Are we, you know? And so, it was yeah. But anywho,
Wait, before we go forward into She-Hulk, I have a question. Just because we're
sure.
talking cameos and Marvel and all that, did our friend Joe send you the $1 billion idea meme?
$1 billion idea meme.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay, so he it was a picture of Hugh Jackman like attacking Bruce Banner in Hulk form, you know. So it was like somebody saying, "Hey Marvel, I got $1 billion idea," and it's just like a picture of those two. And the reason why I bring it up because we're talking about all these cameos, but we also got some huge news on the Deadpool front. So if you want, you can go ahead and let us all know what's going on there.
Okay, so we released okay, we got two little snippets right earlier in the week.
Right.
What the first one was this really funny little collage of Ryan Reynolds talking about, you know, how they're in the development of Deadpool 3 and they're really trying to make it amazing. And he's like, and we got nothing, but what we do got for you is this. And then he like casually asks Hugh Jackman as he's walking past in the
Mm-hmm.
background, like, you want to do another, do you want to play Wolverine again? He's like, yeah, sure, right. Okay.
Right.
And so we get the confirmation that Hugh Jackman is going to return and reprise his role as Wolverine. He has not played the character since Logan, which came out in like 2016, 2015, something like
Mm-hmm.
that. It's been quite a while. So this is huge. The fan base has been kind of buzzing about this for a long time. Like, is he going to reprise the role now that the mutants are coming at the forefront of Marvel? Like, I mean, come on. Like, if you think mutants, you think X-Men, you think
one
Wolverine.
hundred
Like, that's
percent.
one of the big people you see. So that was huge news. And then they followed it with another clip, I think the next day, just kind of addressing the big things that people or the fandom would have been concerned about, which I think is great because I already wasn't really bothered by it just because I really don't think that them bringing him back for this film, being that it's so different to Logan, would have ruined the amazingness that Logan was. But I love that they made the second little clip just to ease the fan base. Like, hey, this isn't going to take anything away from Logan. It's not going to take away from, you know, Wolverine's exit, right, from like the X-Men,
Mm,
whatever, because Logan was set in like the future, you
right.
know, and so therefore those events have not happened yet. And they're just kind of like plugging this in the middle of all of it, you know, so it's huge news. And I love that they're addressing this in the fan base because it means a lot. They're listening, you know, and it's going to be amazing. I'm excited. Deadpool's still going to be rated R, which I think just meant a lot for a lot of people because the first two films are very, they have a very particular vibe and essence that I think would have been lost if they didn't keep the PG, or I'm sorry, if they didn't keep the R rating.
Mm-hmm.
So this was big news. It's been big. And so it's been a buzz. It's crazy. It's wild. And I think it's just exciting. It's going to come out, I think they said 2024. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That I don't recall, but I think that's a safe assumption because 2023 is it's next month basically. I'm just kidding, you know.
Yeah,
So it's
dang.
too soon
Yeah,
for
so I
that.
think yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's 2024. So this is huge. And I mean Deadpool, we love the first film, the second film, and I am looking forward for the third.
Let me. I just want to address the whole idea just so I don't get my hopes up. Just because basically after having this conversation about the multiverse of madness and everything like that, and in the idea of bringing them into the MCU umbrella, I can imagine if somehow uh, it's the same Deadpool story, and this is the same Deadpool that we know, but I wouldn't be mad at if it's like a different variant of Logan. Like if like we yes they said it's like, oh, it's not going to disrupt the whole story of Logan and everything like that, but I don't even think the story of Wolverine was linear to begin with. I feel like they gave us three different versions of Wolverine. I don't think it was all necessarily connected like that. So if they give us like just another version of Logan for this movie, I wouldn't be mad at it.
I mean, like Fox and X-Men didn't do a great job in terms of
Right.
continuity. And like the films were kind of a hit and miss, right? There was some that definitely kind of ranked lower for a lot of people in the fandom, and obviously like other films really were ranked high. Logan being, I think, the top
Yeah,
one.
give me a
So I
ranking from
wouldn't.
1, 2, and 3 from Wolverine, the Wolverine, and Logan. Where would you put it? Where would you rank them? Because I
Um,
would rank them in that order.
I. How would you rank it? Repeat what you said.
Wolverine, the Wolverine, and Logan.
Logan being number one.
Correct.
Oh, okay. I never watched the one where he's in like Japan or something like that. I don't watch it. I don't watch it. I've seen snippets of it. I really don't have an answer as to why I haven't seen it.
Gotcha.
I don't know, but I would definitely say obviously Logan, um, Origin, and then just because I haven't seen the other one, I'm gonna rank it last for now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I agree. I feel like I wouldn't have been bothered if this was just a variant, just because it's like it's not like so. I'm sorry, X Men. Yeah, Fox did a good job of
Right.
continuity anyway. But I'm not upset at the idea that it's like apparently the same variant as the one we saw in
Mm-hmm.
Logan, just earlier in the timeline. I think this was a fine choice. I feel like they probably did think very thoroughly on what would be the most like well received by fans, because bringing him back obviously is a big deal. I think a lot of people were very content with how Hugh Jackman ended the role in Logan, so I'm excited because I feel like they would not f that up and give us something subpar. So I'm excited for it. This is huge news, and I'm just gonna throw it out there. The next thing I'd love to see is like a Spider-Man Deadpool crossover, just because they have like their comic book run and it's pretty cool. In their comic book run, at some point they fight off a daughter that's actually biologically their daughter. She's called Itsy Bitsy. So biologically she's Deadpool and Spider-Man's daughter,
Wow.
and like it's insane. I don't know. I just feel like it'd so cool. It'd be so cool if we could get that crossover, but I'm content with what we got.
Yeah. Like I was like I just don't want to get my hopes up. Even in now learning about Hugh Jackman, uh, returning, I would see this as his last time playing it, and maybe again handing off the mantle, because I was actually assuming that we were gonna get Daniel Radcliffe, or like, cause that's one rumor, or the young guy from Kingsman. I don't know his name, but they were talking to him as well to play it. So if it's if we're still, because right now we're in the multiversal saga, so we know that different universes are still going to clash no matter what, and that's going to end up going into Secret Wars, because being that's pretty much what Secret Wars is all about. I can see us somehow getting this Wolverine in Deadpool, and then getting another variant of a Wolverine of a younger version.
Sure. Yeah. I can definitely see all of that happening, especially with like Secret Wars around the corner. I mean, I'm assuming we're going to be getting different variants before then, because we kind of have to care about the other people for that battle to even mean
Right.
anything, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I hope this is going to be maybe a slow build of us getting different variants, since Multiverse of Madness didn't really lay out very much for
Mm-hmm.
us. And I mean, it's just exciting. Like, this is just Deadpool finally being blended into the MCU is amazing, but Deadpool and Logan, like, well, Hugh Jackman, Logan, all that, it's just, it's been a good week for the fandom, everybody. It's been a pretty damn good week.
Yeah. All right, so we're finally getting into She-Hulk. Where are we at? 25 minutes in, and we're gonna start to chat about episode 6, which is called Just Jen, and Just Jen is it's an episode to where she's invited to her friend's wedding, and for me, I thought this to be especially this episode and the next. This is to be like one of the slower episodes. It was cool. Not much happened. Titania showed up, and um, yeah, I can't really think of any huge moments that happened besides the fight at the wedding. So um,
It's I think both of these episodes were, I don't want to say uneventful because it kind of makes it sound like they weren't good. Like they were good, but it's not like it's adding momentum. It's not like we're like, oh my god, this happened and this happened. You know what I
right.
mean? It's very I don't know how to explain it. It's but it was good. It's like okay, so
Like these are
episode
fillers, and I would say they're
yeah,
good
I think that's
fillers.
I think I would use that word too. So like episode 6, for example, this is where we get like she's invited to an old high school friend's wedding. Also, hold on. Is it weird that you're inviting an old friend from high school that you haven't really spoken to for years to be your bridesmaid?
Yes,
Is that normal?
yes. It's no, no,
That's
no,
normal.
no. It's weird. It's not normal. It's weird.
Weird. Do you not have friends? Just don't get as many bridesmaids. The dog didn't have to go up there.
Right. I
You
don't
know,
like
it's
if somebody. I agree with her friend because she said you could have said nah. Like if somebody hit me up, it's like, yo, I need a groomsman, and be like, bro, I haven't talked to you in 20 years. Like, who are you today? You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah,
weird.
it's like, and it's not like this is a good friend either. Like she's kind of, you know what I mean? Like I feel like Jen was just invited to do like the work that the other bridesmaids would not have wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they kind of give her all these like tasks and
Yeah.
stuff. And I also feel for Jen because like I think we learn a little bit more about it in the next episode too, just kind of intrinsically what's going on with her being She-Hulk and everything. But you know, she's excited. It's kind of like a college reunion where you're, or like I'm sorry, high school reunion where you're like wanting to show off all the cool things that are happening because if they're genuinely happening, I got a promotion at work, I'm doing well, I'm this and that, you kind of want to brag a little bit to like your old high school
Mm-hmm.
friends. I feel like Jen was ready for that, like, dude, I'm She-Hulk, and then her friends like, can you just please let me have this
Right.
moment? Yeah.
It's for one. I would have thought it just to be like you mentioned it. It was a weird situation for one, and then two, it's like, yeah, you invited her to be your bridesmaid, but you also know that she's She-Hulk. So you know that she is going to get attention, and you're inviting that to your wedding.
Yeah, and I guess like the other big thing that did happen in this is we of course got Titania, who somehow like weaseled herself into the wedding by like being someone else's
Mm-hmm.
date. And she's very obviously there to confront Jen. It's so funny though because it's like the bride and her are like, come on, Jennifer, not everything's about you. You know what I mean? But it's like they make her like the weird one, like, oh, you're being paranoid, et cetera, et
Mm-hmm.
cetera. But obviously it's like we know that that is in fact the situation. And Titania is like just trying to provoke um Jennifer like into a fight, and in the end she ends up getting her veneers busted, and we see in like the end credits with like all those little drawings that they have, like she's getting them
Mm-hmm.
repaired. Did you
Yeah,
catch
yeah, I
that?
saw that. Like I'm starting to watch them now because initially I thought the drawings were all the same, but it wasn't maybe until like 2 or 3 episodes to where they insert like little moments, like the shoe moment. Like I didn't catch it at first until I think we talked about it, or you sent it to me via Instagram or something like that, and then I had to go watch it. So now I'm like, at first I was kind of disappointed that they stopped giving us like actual kind of like post credit scenes. But now I see that they're kind of giving us little tiny Easter eggs in the credit drawings.
I like those Easter eggs. I do. And I loved that we did get like the shoe one almost as a precursor to the Deadpool announcement because it was the first time we saw Deadpool and a lot of other
Mm-hmm.
things kind of introduced in the MCU like this, which basically sets the precedent that they exist and are
Mm-hmm.
known, right? Enough that they have merch. And so I thought that was really cool. And this one was just kind of fun. But I will say, I am slightly bitter and salty at the fact that they don't have end credit scenes anymore. Like, come on.
Right.
You kind of set this expectation and
Yeah.
then you got lazy towards the end. Like, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
Just give us, like, give us be real, like, footage that just didn't make the cut. That's it. Super
If
simple. That's,
like something like You give us maybe the first 4 episodes, maybe even 5, with something. Something is light, even like it doesn't, like they were never really like huge moments, but something as light as her family needing her to use her strength to put a TV up or something. It's just you give us that, and now I'm here to the point to where I'm watching and waiting, and I'm waiting to the point to where the whole Georgia symbol shows up at the very end. It's like, this was filmed at Georgia Studios or something like that. So
Same. And I'm like, what the heck is this?
mm-hmm.
Like, it's just, I don't know. So I'm bitter. I'm bitter. But another thing that did happen in this episode is that Jennifer does meet this one character. Honestly, don't have his name. Don't want to know his name. A man. And as soon as he came around, honestly, because a couple episodes ago we did get Jennifer attacked by these individuals who were trying to get her blood, and we knew that that was going to come up again later in the series, and so I was kind of skeptical immediately just from this guy kind of presenting, and especially the way that that episode ended with someone like in a van seemingly like monitoring them, preparing some people for whatever the next step is, and they're using this page that was introduced to us the previous episode, and I can't remember the page, but it has a lot of crazy things, a lot of extremists on there saying like She-Hulk must die, etc., and the username is Hulk King, and so this is like the third or like second or third reference to hulking, which is an actual character in the comics. I don't have it pulled up, but I meant to have it pull up for us just because it's been mentioned so many times. I wonder if this is them lurking over the idea that he might get introduced. So I'm just going to bring him up right here so we can kind of talk about him briefly. See, here we go. Okay, so hulking, Theodore Altman. So I believe he's like the cousin of Hulk, and therefore also Jennifer Walters, yeah. And so he is the husband of Wiccan. So he does end up marrying one of She-Hulk's, I'm sorry, not She-Hulk's, the Scarlet Witch's twins, Wiccan. And so that would kind of make Hulk and the Scarlet Witch related by marriage, which is kind of cool. Let me read just this brief little thing. Let's see. I guess this is kind of longer than I'd like to read. But yeah, so main thing is he is a character in the comics. He's involved in, I believe he's part of like the Young Avengers as well, which we know is kind of lurking in the background as a project that may or may not come into this saga. I assume it's going to be one of those like secret projects that I don't even have a name for yet. But yeah, it's just interesting to me that this is like the second or third mention of hulking.
Where did they mention it in the wedding?
So it is the username to one of the extremists from this website that are kind of hunting down She-Hulk. Yeah. So it's Hulk, capital K, King.
I mean, when it comes down to just this website, I'm just like, is it specific to her, or do they have like other? Did you see if they had like other, I don't know, metahumans on there?
I don't think they had other metahumans, but I do believe the website's something like Reddit, kind of like they have a lot of different forums, because not all of them were violent, but a lot of them were very critical and very, there's like a term for it, like the toxic masculinity type that are very threatened by powerful women, which is, She-Hulk definitely is one of. And so they're targeting her, and they want her blood, and it's, yeah. So when we got that episode and we met this character, I was very skeptical, and definitely the way that the episode ended was very foreboding to for us to assume that he's probably not a good guy. Unfortunately,
you got that from them?
Just because I've been skeptical, because it's like we've known that there's a lurking kind of threat coming about, and so I was a little skeptical. And then when we get the scene of them kind of having this little romantic moment outside, and it cuts to like, I think this guy or something in, I don't know why my head thinks a van, I don't know if that's actually what we saw, but there's a bunch of computer screens, and then we see that little like that little text box exchange with them saying essentially to move on to the next phase.
Mm-hmm.
I assumed it was because I felt like he was a part of it. So I had that hunch from the previous episode, and this episode we obviously learned that that's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely part of that um, group.
Okay. I didn't put two and two together just then. It's like yes, there. It's like that the scene of if it wasn't a van, it was brief. I didn't think him to be connected because I'm still thinking somehow they're connected to the reason why Titania was there, and I'm thinking Titania is like in on the whole deal.
See, I don't feel that as much as I did in the beginning. Like I assumed, I'm like, oh yeah, it would make so much sense for Titania to be a part of it. But now it's like Titania doesn't seem like a genuine threat aside from the fact that she's just a bully who she's like a troll that happens to be
Mm-hmm.
powerful. And so I don't know. I don't think she's involved. Like I have a very good feeling she's not, but it would still leave the question to who is, and I guess we're gonna find out very soon. I do not think it's like the power broker like we
Not
had kind of
anymore. Yeah.
previously.
Mm-hmm.
It's they definitely seem like more of a, and we kind of talked about this because it's like they were such amateurs, it would not make sense for it to be the power broker. So I really think it's just these underground guys who live in basements who are just like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and they're just like, you know what, very similar to the people that gathered around the Riddler in the
I was
Batman,
just
right?
about
Because
to
they
say
had
that.
like the,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because they had like this internet following base of like I don't know how many followers, but it's very similar, you know. So I think it's something like that. Like it's like these mediocre
They
guys
have like
just,
cereal conventions and all that. It's a whole bunch of weirdos.
yeah, but you know, but I mean, even in that situation, they do prove to be very dangerous. Like here, they're very resourceful. Like they found a way to, you know, literally, like it's scary. Like I mean, now we're kind of getting, I mean, that's all I really have for episode 6 anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're kind of getting into episode 7 stuff. Do you have anything else from episode 6 before we kind of get into episode
No,
7?
I want to continue with what you're saying in terms of how scary it's getting.
Yeah, so like episode 7, you know, obviously it you get this little cute little montage of Jennifer dating this one guy, and it's very sweet and it seems very genuine. So it is sad to find out that this guy was really just part of that radical group. You know, they like she feels comfortable enough that like they sleep together, and then he doesn't call her back, text her back, and she's freaking
Mm-hmm.
out, which I think a lot of people can kind of relate to. And you know, she goes through her own journey, which we'll talk about in just a bit, but ultimately, you know, this guy like bugged her
Mm-hmm.
phone is what it seems like, and then took a picture of her sleeping. And so like that's creepy, like the idea that she's so vulnerable in that moment, you know, like feeling like she's safe, and then something like that happens. It's just so uncomfortable to kind of watch. And then also it's like a big question mark. It's like, okay, what's that next step that they're with part of their plan, you
Right.
know?
So, in terms of this group, right? Somehow this group, uh, they were able to somehow steal or buy Asgardian weaponry to try to steal her blood, and that was a swing and a miss. But even still, they went above and beyond to find some way to pierce his skin. And then two, now it's like going from brute force to secret agent. You know, it's like let's send yeah
Espionage. Yeah.
espionage. Let's send somebody in just because obviously brute force isn't working, so we're gonna have to find another way to get a sample of Jennifer.
Yeah, and I mean, we know that there is a big bad behind it because I think in the episode that they did try to attack her, they mentioned like Box isn't going to be
Mm-hmm.
happy. So it seems like there's a very distant, like not directly involved boss, because he's distant enough that I don't think he's orchestrating the attacks. Like I think it's kind of like leaving like the band of henchmen to kind of get the job
Yeah.
done in their by their own means, and then just reporting to the big boss. So we're gonna get a reveal down the road, but I'm telling you, it's like for us to be like 2 episodes away, I feel like it's like we're not getting a lot. Like at Hawkeye, right, we got a lot to theorize on. Here we don't really have much to, you know, draw theories on, you know, in terms of who could this bad guy be, just because we don't have too many threads like the way that they did in Hawkeye, where we didn't really get the reveal till like the second to last
Mm-hmm.
episode, but they gave us a lot of seeds to try to be like, oh, it's this guy, maybe it's this one, maybe it's this one,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So it's yeah, so it's I don't know, but it's picking up in the way that I think does match like the tone of this series, you know, because it is very light and it's very much surrounding just She-Hulk's life in a very almost normal setting. You know, it's not like she's going on secret missions and fighting bad guys. Like, really, it's about her just being and going and navigating her life as Jennifer Walters and She-Hulk. You
Well,
know?
let me just address another reason why I'm disappointed now. Just because this episode, though it was the pace that it was, well, first let's kind of go through it. Like she gets a call from a parole officer because the device that keeps um what's the guy's name, Emil, from
Mhm.
turning into Abomination, I guess is malfunctioning. So they have to go to his little retreat place, and she goes there. Her cars get smashed, and she ends up having to stay a few hours. Now, in that few hours, she's looking for service. She goes into the building, and then in the building, she happens to run into the person who tries to stab her and get her blood. So instead of asking him or interrogating him as far as who he works for or whatnot, it just became more so a therapy session about her being ghosted, you know? So it didn't go in the direction that I was hoping for, because it's like, hey, this person attacked me and we saw him. She even had to pull up the flashbacks, like, where do we know this guy from? He tried to steal her blood, you know? And then from that, I would want to know. Like, I would stay in Hulk form, and I was like, why are you after me? Who do you work for? And what's the plan? You know what I'm saying? I'm not here for therapy. I'm just stuck because I'm his lawyer, basically.
I'm I love how she's like, they better have previously on him. You know what I mean? Like to show us where we saw him last. And I understand. Like I'm not like I like what we got. I thought it was kind of fun, but it's like so it bothers you because you're like, dude, why don't you think to ask such a basic question of like, dude, why'd you do that? Like what was like just to ask. Like dude, I think she just genuinely doesn't understand that she like there's a threat, like an imminent threat. So I
Mm-hmm.
just don't really think it's on her radar. And also she's so distracted by the fact that this guy isn't texting her back, like so oblivious, you know? But yeah, like it's annoying to me. Like it is annoying to me. It's kind of like when that like stupid girl in the scary movie starts going into like the obviously worst place you could possibly go
Mm-hmm.
to, and they don't get that there's like a threat, or they start running and they're constantly falling everywhere, and instead of grabbing the knife that's next to you, you grab a banana. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that kind of frustration. I understand that. I do like what we got. Like what we got was so funny, like this impromptu therapy session that Abomination is running, which is actually effective and gets through to Jennifer Walters, and we get to learn like kind of what's going on with her when it comes to She-Hulk, because we've seen her as a Jennifer Walters kind of get denied a lot, you know. We see her go on dates and she meets a really nice guy, but he doesn't like Jennifer Walters, and it was heartbreaking. Like the episode where she woke up so excited, made dinner, or I'm sorry, made breakfast, and he was like, you know, I'm gonna leave. I wasn't really expecting this, and so, and then we see her have to relive it basically during the trial that she went to
Mm-hmm.
kind of reclaim the name She-Hulk. And so we get, and then now she finds a guy who likes Jennifer Walters. You know, it's not about She-Hulk, and he ghosts her. So it's her fault, you know. And I think it's kind of like what Hulk went through, but a little differently. She still refers to Jennifer and She-Hulk almost like in the third person, right?
Yeah.
Even though she's conscious for both of those scenarios. But it's like both of them are treated so differently that they do feel like just different people, even though she's the one behind both of them. You know?
Right. But
So yeah.
say with this therapy session aside, right? Fast forwarding to the end. I know we may have a few things to talk about in between, but like when we get to the end, I'm really expecting this group of people being therapized or therapied. I don't know. And these people in this therapy group to be a part
Therapized.
of.
We're gonna trademark that word. That is so funny.
Yep.
therapist.
But I'm thinking they're a part of this a group that's anti She-Hulk. I wouldn't have put Blonsky on it, but it would have been a good plot twist to where he is somehow he got her to get him out of jail, and now he's back to finding a way to kill She-Hulk. You know, so
I honestly, like, I was like in the back of my head, like kind of on edge of like, oh my god, especially when she was in like the hut.
yeah,
I thought they were ready to attack her or
yeah,
something. But again, like, I felt comfortable because Abomination was there, and I genuinely feel like he
you think he's
did
good?
was rehabilitated. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was nice to know that they were genuinely just being nice to her, and you kind of need that. So it's kind of like the girls, like you don't need this man, you know what I mean? Like when you go to this date that like just didn't turn out right, or you go on a date with like just an a-hole. And it's just, I feel like it was so, I liked it. I really liked it. It was so wholesome.
No, it
But
wasn't.
yeah, it
No,
bothers
it
me.
wasn't. I hated
It
it.
was
I hated it just because honestly, it just came to the point to where it's just like, hey Jen, tell us your issues. Yes, let your guard down. Go back to Gen form, and then right then and
I
there,
thought he was gonna
right. I
stab
was just
her.
like,
Yes.
they wanted her to go to Gen form just to attack. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was expecting, and then it didn't
Yeah.
go that
No, I
direction.
understand. I understand, and I agree with you so much on the side of just like, dude, like, why don't you bother to ask? Even after this is over and you're kind of zenned out and you feel better, like, you don't think to ask, like, hey, by the way, like, is this gonna happen again? Should I be scared? Is there what made you rehabilitate yourself and come to this group? You know what I mean? Like, it's so, I don't know. It's like obvious questions she should be asking for reasons of plot. She's not though.
I need the three women from Sandman. I have all the right questions. I just need answers.
There you go. We would thrive. We would thrive.
Mm-hmm.
Thrive. Oh my god. Okay, question. If the three women, past, present, future, were in front of you, what would be the three questions you would ask, MCU related? Go.
Can it be like my MCU take on like what's going on in the movies or what's happening outside of the MCU? Can I ask any question?
Any question MCU related.
Okay. First question: should I be worried? No, no, I don't want a yes or no question. So scratch that. With recent news of Blade's director leaving, and now they have to search for a new director. Uh, will the Blade story? It's still gonna be yes or no. Is the Blade movie or story going to be good or better or worse than the original trilogy? So
I like it.
that's question number
One.
one. Question number two. Um, Mutants. When will they come?
When, dude, that's like the ultimate question.
Yep.
Ultimate. Okay, you got one more.
And three. Um, will Wanda Maximoff ever have another major role in the MCU? And with that news of them kind of talking earlier this week, it's like, yeah, Feige has theories, but will they explore more with Wanda Maximoff?
I'm gonna answer that, and it's gonna be a hell freaking yeah, because like Kevin Feige said, they've only scraped the surface of a storyline,
Mm-hmm.
and we haven't even touched some of like the major storylines that she's been a part of, and which her history is in the comics, which is vast. And being that we're only in the second saga of the MCU ever created, for them to just take off the most powerful person in the world off the chessboard is stupid. So we're gonna see her. Is it gonna be good? I don't know. They failed me a little bit. Multiverse madness. I'm a little salty. Hope they do her well. But Emily Olsen is just amazing, and they would never have her fall off the MCU like train so soon. So yes, she will come back. When? Who knows?
I know we don't have mutants on the power rankings, but you're putting her over Jean Grey.
Both of them are considered Nexus beings. It's TBD, I think, whose power ranks above the other, but they're very comparable
Okay.
for
I was
sure.
just
For
like you
sure.
saying the most powerful being. I was like, I don't know.
No, it's debatable for sure. It's debatable.
Yep.
It's not a clear answer, I think, between the two, but they're definitely on that same power ranking for sure.
Okay.
Both of them exceed the power of Charles Xavier,
Mm-hmm.
even. So yeah. So there's a debate for sure. Let's see. Okay,
Those were my three
where is
questions.
Gamora?
Where's
Who is Gamora? Why is Gamora?
Those are your three questions?
um,
You asked the wrong question, sorry.
okay.
They're gonna look at you and be like, sorry, you didn't ask the right ones.
Okay. Who's playing Mr. Fantastic? Okay.
Okay.
Will Kiki Palmer play Rogue?
Kiki Palmer as Rogue? Ugh.
No. If you have not seen the fan art, she's an amazing actress. She's an amazing actress. I feel like she could do it really well. I would love it. I would love it.
Okay.
I would love it. Let's see. Last one. Where the heck is Vision? Where the hell is Vision?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, say when it comes down to the Rogue question, do you think we're gonna get a Rogue that flies in the animated series, or do you think it's going to be the same of what we got in the previous X-Men? Just
Okay, so the Rogue we got in the previous X-Men was reduced to someone whose objective was solely on being able to kiss her boyfriend, and that's, I think, so minimizing of an individual who's so powerful that she basically beat Captain Marvel.
right.
And took her powers like nothing, but you're going to reduce her to this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we have to. I feel like
She
her
was super
powers
strong, I think, in the cartoon. Like, she was strong and she could
She's
fly.
a high-powered individual for sure.
Mm-hmm.
She has like amazing powers that were not even honestly barely explored. Like I know she was very involved in the first film for X-Men. She was a big part of the plot, but that was it. And we really didn't even see her do very much. She was just kind of the source that she was being used by Magneto to kind of do his plot.
But she's big enough to where there was, what was it? It's a Rogue cut of X3 or something like that. Like, she got her own cut of that movie. I didn't watch it. I didn't want to rewatch it, but I saw it. But I was just, yeah. There's like another version of X3. It's the Rogue cut, to where she wasn't in it because I feel like, well, no, she was in it because X3 was about mutants getting their powers taken from the cure or whatnot. So she was one of the people in the original version of it, to where she got the cure and she didn't have her powers. But I didn't rewatch the new version just to see if she changed her mind and ended up becoming the Rogue that I'm hoping that we get in the future.
I hope we really get to explore her for sure. I think we even talked about it on Women's History Month. Like, she's one of the characters that we really hope gets a better shot in when she returns into the MCU. So I'm excited for the casting. I think Kiki Palmer would fit the role so well. She's amazing. Have you seen? Nope.
I sure have.
I haven't, but I've seen the trailers and I like it.
You're gonna ask me for? It's like, have you seen it? Because I haven't.
Yeah, no, and same thing with Jean Grey. I feel like they keep flopping, and the reason is because they keep taking the story from the perspective of others' reactions of what she becomes versus taking it from the perspective of her. They treat her almost as an object versus actually a human in the story,
Mm-hmm.
because the story is just around how everyone responds to what she becomes. Right. And I think that's the constant issue with them. And the thing is, this is an epic comic book run, the whole Dark Phoenix, and they haven't done it successfully. And I think the MCU has a shot of doing it well. But it's if the MCU is willing to take that next shot at the Fantastic Four and make it well, which I think they will, I think they could do the same thing with Dark Phoenix. I really do. And for her to not be part of Secret Wars, I think would be a miss. And so I hope that she and Rogue get another shot,
Mm-hmm. Well, that was just one of my three questions. When are the mutants coming? Because when they come, she is for sure a staple to show up. Oh, actually, all X-Men. would be a staple. I'm trying to think of any other mutants that wouldn't be much of a staple. Maybe like Nightcrawler or.
I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of different X-Men's. Like, I think a lot. There's a huge part of them that don't weigh in like the
Right.
X-Men, but I think it's because there's so many big names that there's a lot of X-Men characters that are just known, you know, like, and I think that's kind of what you're leaning on. It's like Beast and even Nightcrawler, like that's, you know, Mystique, etc. I hope we get Mystique. Like, I'm telling you, like, okay, the special effects makeup they did on Mystique was
Which
horrible
Mystique?
with Jennifer
Okay.
Lawrence.
The second Mystique.
They got it right on her last appearance as Mystique, and I'm like, dude, you finally got it right. It looks good, and then you're just gonna take her out like
Mm-hmm.
that. And so okay, a while ago, because the reason that they reduced Mystique's role, Jennifer Lawrence's role in like the last film that she was in, was because she didn't want to play the role anymore.
Yeah.
And I remember afterwards seeing her claim that she wanted to be a part of like the MCU, because this is obviously before these two were merged,
Right.
right? And I remember I got so upset with that statement. It's like, dude, you need to understand, when you take the mantle of one of these heroes, you have a responsibility to the fandom. And for you to jump off a project and therefore reduce the quality of the project by doing so, just so they can write you off, is irresponsible.
Well, you can't. All right, I know. Hold on. I'm gonna switch the screen because I feel like are we done talking about She-Hulk?
Honestly, I don't think I have much
All
else
right,
on
all right.
She-Hulk.
We're
I
taking
think we
She-Hulk
covered all
off the
the big
screen.
stuff.
So
Yeah.
say when it comes down to just the X-Men franchise of Fox, right? And we've already kind of discussed how like each story, including all the Wolverine stories, including the New Mutant movie that came out maybe 2 years ago, nothing has really been uh, linear. New Mutants was more so linear to Logan just because it was the same company that was doing all the experiments on mutants, but that was pretty much it. So for her to wanna kind of hop off of the X Men franchise, let's say after Days of Future Past, because that was the movie before um, Dark Phoenix, correct? Or was there one more in between that?
Days of Future Past. Yeah, I think you're correct. I think you're
I
correct.
feel like Days of Future Past would have been it was a movie to end on like the way it ended and how they brought the whole Sentinel story into that. Great. I was actually hoping that to be the last Hugh Jackman movie, you know, as Wolverine. I was like, okay, let's go out with a bang. That's it, because now we're getting all these other films from the actual Marvel Studios, like, because at the time we'd already gotten Iron Man, and I think Phase 1 had already been out by the time Days of Future Past was out. So just to kind of end it there would have been cool. But then Fox had Dark Phoenix and then New Mutants, and
Oh, real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Before the Dark Phoenix one, you did get the Apocalypse one.
see, I already
You know what I'm
totally
talking
forgot
about?
to say it. You should have stopped right there after Days of Future Past, because I already forgot about the Apocalypse one.
Mhm.
Is it called X Men Apocalypse?
Something else. Maybe X-Men
I think it is
Apocalypse.
X
Maybe
Men
X-Men.
Apocalypse.
I think so. I think so. But you know, I don't know. It's for me. It's like, I mean, it's, let's be real. It is a very unrealistic expectation for us to assume that actors can just dedicate their whole lives to the fandom and what the fandom wants. It's an
Sure,
unrealistic
sure.
expectation, but I do fall under that umbrella. Unfortunately, I am what I am. I have flaws. And so for me, it's like, for you to have such an irresponsible like take on the role and just wanting to hop out, even though there's maybe they're trying to do more with it. I don't trust you to take an MCU role. I don't want her to. I love Jennifer Lawrence, amazing actress, love her, love her, love her. I don't want you in the MCU. I can't
But if a
trust you.
franchise is on the decline and then you feel the same way that she does, like me, like, because Apocalypse wasn't, like, I feel like Days of Future Past was the peak, and then from there, it was a slow decline from there, you know? So I get it. You're on a team, and no matter if you're losing or whatnot, you still got to give it your all because you're a part of that team. But like people do still like have feelings, and people want to get traded. Athletes get traded all the time. They're like, you know what, I'm cool. I'm a rest up the rest of the season and hopefully get traded to another team next season. You know, that's just how it goes sometime. And I feel like she felt like she could do that. And you have every right to be like, nah, don't come over here with that nonsense. You can actually make another Hunger Games. Do that over there. Don't touch the MCU at all.
Don't touch this. And you know what? I don't disagree. And that's like I said, that's the reality of it. That's very true. And, you know, actors have the creative ability to pursue other roles that they would like. A lot of people, honestly, like they make themselves out of like the MCU, right? Like that's Tom Holland. He broke through and now he has the ability to really do whatever project he wants. So I'm sure there's going to be a point where I'm sorry, but Spider-Man's just not going to be his priority anymore. And so I understand the reality of it, but I'm just going to be that fan, that
But
very
let me ask you.
extremist in that sense.
Let me ask you. Do you feel the same way about Michael B. Jordan or Chris Evans?
In what sense?
Michael B. and Chris Evans played Johnny Storm for Fox.
The thing is, like, it's the projects were not continued, but it wasn't because of those characters not wanting to continue the role. You know what I mean? Like for Jennifer Lawrence, they specifically had to write that the way they did because Jennifer Lawrence didn't want to do the role anymore. Like they had to like change the story to allow for her exit. That wasn't the case for these other characters. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not like, oh, you've been on other projects, I don't want you on something else. That's not like the issue I have. It's like if it's like okay, we get Avengers and then we get Robert Downey Jr. no longer wanting to play Iron Man, so therefore they have to either kill him off early to have his exit or they have to recast him. Both of the situations, the fandom would have fucking lost their shit. You know what I mean? So it's like that. Obviously with X-Men, it's like it's not like the films were great anyway, so I get it. And I'm very much an understanding that what I'm demanding is unrealistic and not real. You know, I get that. That's fine.
I think you're showing favoritism.
I know I'm wrong.
I think Yep. Because I see it as the same as far as those three actors. They just want to switch teams, and unfortunately 2 out of the 3 were able to switch teams and sign to Disney, and the other had to die off in Fox, and that's just that.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's like it's not the same because it's not like the projects were affected specifically because the actors did not want to reprise their roles. Like in Jennifer Lawrence's case, it was.
Oh no,
like,
I get what you're saying. I get
Yeah.
100% of what you're saying, but I'm just saying as far as reasonings go, it's like yes, no, Chris Evans and Michael B. It wasn't on some I don't want to be Johnny Storm anymore, I'm going over here to Disney. It was just like I'm just saying they just happened to sign on to do other roles in Disney, you know? And who's to say that she may come over to Disney, she's not going to play Mystique, you know? If anything, I can see her maybe doing something else, but I don't know.
See, I wouldn't be mad if she reprised the role. I would not be mad. The thing is, like, I don't trust her with other roles. Like, you know, that's my thing. But it is what it is. Regardless, I think, like, I mean, it's crazy. We have so much to talk about X-Men wise, and we don't even have like the full official introduction to them. I mean, I guess Deadpool's going to be that bridge because Deadpool has had a lot of involvement with the X-Men. You know, he's been back and forth on the X-Men. Both of his movies have involved them, and now we have Wolverine and X-Men coming into the play. So I think that's going to be the bridge story to kind of blend that all together. So we're getting it very soon. At the very latest, it's going to be 2024 in this film, you know, maybe much sooner.
Well, being that Mystique, she died in that, it's like I don't think she can reprise her role. Jean got her out of here.
If they took the route of a variant, then sure, who knows, you know, but I think we went on this tangent because I mentioned Mystique as one of the characters I would love to see back just because she's like, I like her. I like her character a lot. I wouldn't be upset if Jennifer Lawrence like reprised it. But I just had beef that I wanted to share.
I think that should be one of your 3 questions. If you ever have the 3 ladies, it's like who is next to play Mystique?
Who? Just when I was saying like the whole Gamora one, it's really funny. So I have like my Gamora tattoos, you guys know.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know how to show it. But like whenever I stretch people out at work, I'll like I go behind so like a lat stretch, and I'll be like, okay, grab Gamora, like to grab my forearms and like grab Gamora. And I had a client, and he kept grabbing my hand, and I was like, grab Gamora, and then he was just like, okay, and just would just readjust his hands. I'm like, okay, where's Gamora? And then he was like, huh? And I'm like, okay, do you know who Gamora is? And he's like, why is Gamora? I'm like, you mother, like, it was just, I'm like, Gamora. It was just really funny. It was like unintentionally we led into that bit, and it was just really fun. Yeah, it was so good.
Man.
It was so good.
That sounds funny. All right, well, I think that wraps up She-Hulk. We went on a tangent with X-Men. And next week we're wrapping up Sandman, yes or no? Where are we at in Sandman?
Yes.
Sandman.
What did we break down last episode? We did a lot.
Yeah, I think honestly we only have the one episode.
Oh, we have 2 episodes left.
Okay.
I believe because you said there was one that was kind of like an extra episode.
Yeah, it was like a bonus episode.
Yeah, and so if anything, what we can do is we'll break down She-Hulk and that second to last episode of Sandman, and then we'll save the finale and the extra episode as like a bundle together.
Yeah. All right, I'm with it. So
we said it, guys.
It's one of our shorter episodes today. It's all good. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Friday. Grace, you enjoy yours too. And we're peacing out early today.
Dude, when was the last? Okay, an hour used to be our normal runtime. I do not think that we've done an hour in like a year. Like I don't think there's been a single like episode this year that has been an hour run. We've been really leaning to like the 2 hours plus for quite some time.
After No Way Home, everything was like 2 hours.
Seriously, oh my goodness. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your Friday, everybody. Enjoy your Friday chill. That was Chill and Grace from Comic Cinematic Universe.
You got it. Closing this out.
Peace
out. All right, later, guys.
Bye, guys.